Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Pitch Day for January 26th, 2022. My name is Jeff Sailing. I am the Executive Director and one of the co-founders here at Startup NV. And we run Pitch Days every other Wednesday. It's one of our favorite things that we do. Today, in just a few minutes, we're going to hear first from Steve Hinton from PureSight, all about air purification and making sure that the air we share is awesome. And then we'll hear from Sanjeev Saxena from Harae DX Corp about cancer detection. Before we get started, just a couple of things for those who are new to our program or haven't been here before. Startup NV is Nevada's statewide nonprofit startup accelerator and incubator. We operate 3 nonprofit programs for entrepreneurs or founders and 3 for-profit investment funds for angels and early stage investors to invest in some of the startups that we see here on Pitch Day and some others that come to our attention from other sources. We run Pitch Days every other Wednesday where companies pitch for feedback and for entry into our accelerator program, which comes with a minimum of a $50,000 investment. Oftentimes we are able to raise more than $50,000. Sometimes the founders only want the $50,000, so it comes with a minimum of $50,000. For information on our other investment programs and our other work that we do with entrepreneurs, check us out online at startupnv.org. Now, our nonprofit work with entrepreneurs would not be possible without financial help from our sponsors and supporters, the primary one of which is the City of Las Vegas, thank you, the Brex Card, and Glassboard Technologies. We appreciate that our corporate sponsor, the help that our corporate sponsors provide. And so if you are someone who might like to help or know someone who might like to help, please introduce me, Jeff Sailing, and I'd love to chat with them. I am super excited to hear from Sanjeev about your solution for doing the cancer detection. So Sanjeev, why don't you go ahead and start sharing, and as soon as you're up and ready to go, begin whenever you're ready to talk about. See, and I actually went online and they said you're supposed to pronounce this Harae or Harae.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's right or not. Hopefully I didn't completely botch it. So I'm excited to hear you pronounce it properly and tell us all about cancer detection.
Great. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Logan and Maggie, for having me here. So the company is called Harae DX. Harae is actually a Shinto word for purification. So it actually applies also to Stephen purifying. Now, today, people are dying of cancer and they really don't need to. Early detection, we know, can save lives. And so Harae DX is developing the world's lowest cost portable cancer detection system, which allows for diagnostics of diseases like breast cancer, cervical, ovarian, etc. And today, most of the screening happens in urban communities where less than about 10% of the world's population actually lives, 10 to 20%. Most of the people live in either semi-urban or rural communities, and literally you don't have any diagnostics for them. People are dying without even knowing that they do have cancer. Of the 4% women that are tested, and let's look at women, we are looking at female cancers initially, that's what we are targeting. Of the 4 or 5% of the women who are screened today for cancer, about half of, we find a significant amount of women have cancer, and half of the women who are found to have cancer end up dying every year. So going back here itself, you find that the current screening methods which are there are mammography and MRIs and ultrasounds, etc. they're really cumbersome and require highly trained personnel to do the detection. And as a result, it's expensive, and as a result, it's not available to most of the people. So what we have developed is this little system instrument out here called the Nidan BioLab, which in Hindi means diagnosis in India. And this microfluidic system, the disk has got all the reagents already pre-placed in here. And essentially all you do is put a few drops of blood, and then you put it into the instrument. The instrument kind of looks like this, which is a portable instrument. And in about 15 to 20 minutes, you have the results. So you've got all the reagents out here. You put in the blood, it separates out the plasma from the blood cells, and the plasma has got these protein biomarkers, which the reagents then capture and they fluoresce, and you can read the reading. Read the intensity of all these biomarkers fluorescing. What we do then is we have predictive analytics using machine learning, which then go in and analyze automatically and tell you what the level of each of these markers is, and then it gives it a score. So if it's in the green zone, it means there is no cancer. The yellow zone is what FDA terms as equivocal, and red means there is cancer. And what we actually find is the green zone means that it's a low probability that someone has cancer. Well, they actually don't. And if it's in the yellow zone, that means some of these biomarkers are upregulated. They probably are moving towards cancer. And when all the biomarkers are upregulated, or some of them are in the yellow zone, maybe a few in the green, the total score comes out to be red. It means that they have cancer at that point. So what we've designed is a simple portable system, which is cost effective, which we expect is going to be very low in cost, between $10 to $15. It can be deployed throughout the world. And we've got an accurate predictive system using this biomarker panel. The biomarker panel was developed at Lawrence Livermore National Labs, and we have taken an exclusive license to that. This technology is very helpful to not just the patients, but also the healthcare providers and the payers. It reduces the cost, helps in early diagnosis, quick results, and helps in lowering mortality rate. Obviously, because now you're finding it at stage 1 or stage 2 when you can treat the patient. And from a payer standpoint, it reduces their costs because now you're detecting it early, and so the treatment costs come down dramatically. And from the healthcare providers' standpoint, they don't have to worry about malpractice, because now again, someone can go and sue them because they didn't do an early diagnosis. So we've done multiple studies. 2 studies were done just on the panel by itself at Lawrence Livermore and by us. And we showed that the sensitivity and specificity was over 90%. And this was independent of the stage of cancer. It didn't matter whether that was stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, or stage 4. Then we did another 7 studies, starting with about 50 patients all the way to about 320 patients. And again, we got sensitivities and specificities which were over 85%. Now, this was using 4 of the 5 biomarkers because the technology at that time wasn't advanced enough. So now we have advanced the technology in regards to detection of the 5th biomarker, the optics, which couldn't detect it. Is, you've got some of these optical components now available. They didn't exist earlier. And so now we can go up to even higher, over 90% sensitivity specificity. Compare it against the standard of care, which is mammography, or it's a physical exam, or if you take colon cancer or any other thing, it's literally a colonoscopy, or for cervical cancer, it's a pap smear. All of those are invasive tests we're talking about a non-invasive test where you take a few drops of blood and do the test. Where we are in the process right now, we are in the design for manufacturing phase. We have already done the validation. Once we finish the design for manufacturing phase, we will go back and do the integration and retest. And so by end of 2024, we expect to have this product in the market. Sorry, end of 2023. The cancer market itself is extremely large. It's according to various statistics which are available, there's about $140 billion diagnostic market. And that's based on 39% of the people who have cancer in their lifetime. The SAM, which is, we are looking at breast, cervical, and ovarian, is about $25 billion market. And we expect we should be able to capture about $750 million. Why are we saying this? We have done some validation. We have talked to the Indian government and to the Chinese government and to physicians out here in the US. We already have a projected order from the Indian government to screen 10 million women in the state of Gujarat and in India, and from the Sichuan government to screen about 1.6 billion women in Lushur County, and then expand into all of Sichuan province. Looking at, again, here you look at about 2 billion women over the age of 40 who need to be screened. And today there's very little screening, less than 10%. Breast cancer, there's about 60 million women who undergo mammography. Out of that, 2.1 million women are found to have breast cancer, and about half of them end up dying. Similarly, in cervical and ovarian, there is no screening today. How do we plan to bring this into the market? There's education which has to happen in regards to the patients, but also getting the insurance companies, Aetnas, etc., on board so that they prescribe it to be for the patients to be tested yearly, so that early detection can happen and cost can come down for them. The business model that we are following is a razor blade model. Essentially, you've got a one-time instrument sale for about $2,000, and the disc itself would run about $60. On this disc, you can test 6 patients. So the cost per patient is about $10. And we expect the Quest of the world and the labs, physician-operated labs, would charge no more than $20 per patient, which is about the same as your copay. There are a lot of companies working in this area. You've got Grail, Roche, Exact Sciences, Garden, Freenome. Yes.
Your 10 minutes is up, so why don't you jump to your ask slide?
Okay. So we are looking at about 500K at this point, and it's broken down as 30% for the instrument development, about 20% for instrument development, disk development, chemistry, and the instrument development. That's where the cost is. Right now, none of us are taking salaries. We are about 7 people in the company. 5 million valuation cap. It's a convertible note, and with an interest of 5% and a term of 2 years with an automatic equity conversion.
Thanks, Sanjeev. It was a great presentation, really interesting stuff.